to AstroEnergy with astrologer angel Shelley Overton. Hello and welcome to the October 18th, 2016 episode of AstroEnergy Astrology. So my name is Shelley Overton. I am an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and I am happy to be here with you today. The sun was shining until just a second ago, so hopefully that doesn't relate to the show at all. But if you would like to get a call this hour, the number is 347-994-3365, and I will answer your calls after we're done talking about what's going on with the planets, and we're going to talk a little bit about the mythology of the sun. So I was just looking in on the news stories and trying to figure out what's been going on this last week. It wasn't as easily noticeable as a hurricane, but we have had little things going on and a few big things. The thing that stuck out to me, though, well, right now they're going to send up a rocket tonight at 7:40 p.m., and I'm assuming that's probably from Cape Canaveral. And they also have the what is, I don't even know the name of it, the X something. Sorry, I reposted it on my Facebook page for astrology, but I can't remember the name of the rocket or the scientific entity. It's going up to look at Mars, and it's on its way to Mars. So I'm going to just see if I can peek in. I don't know if I have it on my website. It doesn't look like it's right here. Easily looked at, unfortunately. But anyway, Mars is once again in the news, not surprising, because Mars is right next to Pluto. That's major shifts and changes going on around our attention, the way we look at things on a universal or global level. Pluto has a very significant energy around it when it comes to astrology, and I know I've talked about it before. They've demoted him, but in astrology, he is promoted. And so Pluto is in conjunction to Mars tomorrow. They're both going to be at 15 degrees Capricorn. And you may remember that from being the degree that we had a conjunction with Uranus and Pluto last year. But Mars is going to be right there on Pluto. So Mars is assertive action, and Pluto is major life change. So we are seeing, and Capricorn is a feminine energy, so we're seeing a lot of assertiveness around women. And tomorrow night is the last debate between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. So I very much believe it's going to be contentious. We also have a square between, it's a wide square. It's actually, let me see, 6 degrees past Jupiter. So Jupiter is at 8 degrees Libra, and he's squaring Mars and Pluto at 15. So it's going to be quite a bunch of fireworks, I believe, and probably worth watching. So if you can, I will actually be with some family members tomorrow night. So I may not see it, which could be a good thing, but I'll probably watch it after the fact, which I kind of like to do anyway. I like to read what's been going on with it so that I kind of keep a lot of the drama and hyperbole out of my view of what's going on. And so, I think it's going to be pretty contentious, not surprising. You didn't need to know Mars and Pluto are conjunct to know that it's probably going to be no holds barred tomorrow. And we've also got Sun, Mercury conjunct, and Mercury will be even closer to the Sun tomorrow. Today he is at 19 Libra, and the Sun is at 25, but tomorrow he'll be at 20, so probably even possibly 21 by the time the debate happens. So we have, as of this moment, we have the Moon at 0 degrees Gemini. We're going to call the Moon a she, because historically she is a she. So she just moved into Gemini. out of Taurus, and Taurus is a feminine energy, Gemini is a masculine energy, and in Gemini it's very verbal, very verbose. So the debate tomorrow night probably will be a lot of words, and there will probably be juggling or jockeying for position to try and get their words out because everybody wants to say a lot. And I know Donald Trump, I believe he's a Gemini. Can't remember. I think he's a Gemini. And so he's going to have a lot to say. And it won't necessarily be true because the Gemini influence means that there's more than one thing being said or more than one idea being given, that there's more than one way of looking at the truth, and he's going to give his version of it. And so we've got an opposition to Venus at 0 degrees Sagittarius. So both Venus earlier this morning, I think it was around 3 a.m., and the moon just in the last 20 minutes went into new signs, and they're exactly opposite each other. So today we have a tremendous amount of feminine energy being expressed in masculine realms, and we've also got Venus now in the same sign as Saturn. And so but the beauty is now that she is in Sagittarius, which is not necessarily comfortable because it is a masculine sign. It's about more of a Martian energy, more of a masculine energy. The ruler of Sagittarius is Jupiter, which is in Libra, and that is Venus's sign. So even though Sagittarius is more masculine now, Venus is still answering to herself because of that energy, because of Jupiter and Libra, the ruler of Sag. So that means that there is definitely an expansion. There's an opportunity for relationship expansion and expression of the feminine energy in masculine arenas. And it means that we are going to learn more about women. I'm saying probably in the public eye, there are going to be more women coming forward for the whole Donald Trump thing, saying he did something. It's kind of like if you look at the moon in Gemini, definitely Donald Trump sees himself as sympathetic to women because the moon is the mother, and that is now in his sign. So he's like, well, but, I love my mother, or I am very sympathetic to women. But Venus is in the opposite part of the sky, exactly opposite at 0 degrees, both at 0 degrees. And now she is saying, yes, but you did this and you did that, and I'm here to tell you about it because Sagittarius wants to lay it on the table. And then Saturn is in Sagittarius as well. So again, Sagittarius can rule sex and sexual things, and it rules travel, it rules learning and expression of spirit on a higher realm. And while it can be very blunt, it does seek out truth, but it wants to continue moving. It isn't going to stop very long. So we're going to touch on things and move on. And Donald Trump probably in the debate, you will see him address it and move on and not want to stick around and talk about it. That's just going to be the nature of the communications right now. And then Mercury in Libra is also going to be talking about balance, talking about cooperation, probably because now Venus is in Sagittarius and Mercury is in Libra. We're going to be talking at the debate about diplomacy. So how are we going to be dealing with foreign affairs in other countries and what's going on with them? How are we going to balance our relationships with them? Because Sagittarius wants to do that. Sagittarius wants to talk about race relations, wants to talk about how we are going to interact with other cultures and other places, other foreign countries, religions. And that is very much the Middle East and ISIS and that kind of thing, Muslim religion. So we'll see that. But at the same time, we have Jupiter, Mercury, and the Sun in Libra, and they're all squaring Mars conjunct Pluto. So what's going on there? Mars and Pluto are historically planets that do not want to sit down and take it. So there's a song out on the radio now where the line is, I don't want to sit there and look pretty. And so Venus wants to look pretty. Mars and Pluto don't want to sit there. So we're going to see that energy coming up where I'm not going to just sit still and look pretty. I'm going to go out and I'm going to fight. And being in Capricorn, it is an energy of challenging tradition wanting to shift tradition. Pluto has been wanting to do that since 2007, 2008, and Mars is now giving legs to the ideas of the shift, ideas of the change. We're going into a new way of looking at government, Pluto, a new way of structure, Capricorn. So we're going to be seeing that come up too, and that's really pointed, it's perfecting tomorrow. And so Mars is wanting to be more aggressive, more assertive. Pluto wants to make the shift. So what's going to happen in society as well is you may see more people acting out and feeling freer to act out as a means of shifting society. So the Libra energy, Jupiter, Mercury, Sun, we've got Jupiter that wants to teach, wants to express, and wants the adventure of seeing what it's like to engage other people. Mercury wanting also to engage, but from a mental standpoint, wants to discuss, wants to throw out the ideas. How can we find new ways of cooperation? So that energy is going to be predominant over the next few days. And then the Sun in Libra also wrapping up the energy of Libra at 25 degrees. So the Sun goes into a new sign this week in Scorpio. And so that's going to be a heightened energy. So we're going from the romantic honeymoon period with Libra into the more, so this is what it's like to truly be committed to someone, energy of Scorpio. And so it's also that intense, passionate side, the dark, hidden things, trying to, dig deep and find out what that could be, and, really find a deeper meaning to things. It's not an area where we want to just gloss over things now. The Sun is going into that, basically, if you can imagine the sun setting on a pool of deep, dark water, and you see it, it's bright, and then it's gone, and the water's dark and moody. So it's kind of like that imagery. So we're going to have that on the 23rd, and that is Sunday. Sunday we're going to have the Sun go in. And so then we have Venus in Sag, Saturn in Sag, and then Mars, Pluto we talked about. Neptune is at 9 degrees retrograde Pisces, and he is in inconjunct within 1 degree of Jupiter. This is pretty big stuff. Jupiter, again, expansion, learning in an air energy. It's about ideas. And so it's going to want us to seek out the connectedness we have with other people and find out about other people. But Jupiter is also more of a self-serving planet. So it's trying to find where we can serve ourselves within the relationship. And then it's in conjunct to Neptune. So Neptune is wanting to look back. And again, as Neptune's retrograde, it acts a bit more like the detail-minded Virgo. It is more pragmatic. It is not as emotional and moody and willing to forgive things that it would normally forgive. It's going to be nitpicky. It's going to be more Virgo-esque. And so there's going to be this disconnect between a certain self-serving cooperation and looking at the details. And it all relates to 3 different things. There's water, which is Neptune and Pisces. It's sign that it rules. And then there's air, which is Libra. And there's fire, which is Jupiter. So water, fire, air, steam, feeling maybe bogged down, unable to breathe, trying to understand things, but not necessarily being able to get past some of the emotional side of it, but yet eventually getting a handle on the mental side. And again, air sign, which is Libra, and a retrograde Neptune can be very mental, but it's going to be at odds. It's going to be idealistic versus, both sides will be idealistic, but one will be more about going back to the past, how we've done things, and the Jupiter energy will be about finding new ways and not being a doormat anymore and having to stand up and say your piece. So there could be an altruism versus ideology. So you've got one side saying, no, this would be the perfect thing, I understand it, and the other side going, yeah, but I want to please this religious body. I want to please that group of people. I want to please myself in that realm, in the social realm. So we're going to have a bit of odds going on. And it's not, and again, because it's an inconjunct, it isn't necessarily a comfortable, it's like an awkward thing even to describe. It's not something that flows well together, the energy. So Uranus in Aries, direct opposition to the Sun, and Mercury conjunction in Libra. So we also have that energy. And today we have the inconjunct with the Moon and the Sun. So, and also there's an inconjunct, or excuse me, there's the opposition with Venus for the Moon, and then an inconjunct to the Sun. So that's quicker moving things. That's going to be arguments with women, men and women actually, and differing viewpoints where men are going to be thinking that they're actually considerate of the other side of things, but women are saying, no, that's not working for me. Opposition of Venus in a masculine sign and Sun in a feminine sign, wrapping up the story. So it's kind of like you're going to have some arguments. You're going to have people in three different positions, none of them necessarily capable of seeing what the other wants to see. Definitely a strong link between the masculine point of view and the feminine point of view, and not being able to cooperate or express truly their point of view and have it understood. Not that there isn't going to be an intellectualizing or an attempt at understanding it through the intellect. We are not necessarily able to truly empathize with the other side. And so we're going to have these arguments. And, wherever you see Gemini, Sagittarius, Libra in your chart, and potentially also Aries and Pisces. So it's kind of a melee really coming up. It's going to be a difficult time, probably for the next 4 days, I would say. And then having water and Jupiter, which rules transportation, there could be a disconnect also among people in the transportation industry, travel agents, airlines, and not necessarily getting the details. I wouldn't be surprised, again, if there are some events around miscommunication, misunderstanding, and not cooperating with people. And this is something that's probably more like if you're on a plane, someone's acting up and not getting their way, and the attendant cannot control them, something like that. So that would be, the human interpersonal side of things as opposed to the transpersonal, which is cooperation of groups in the larger setting. It's more of an interpersonal, friendships, siblings, sisters, brothers, marriage partners with the Libra energy. It could also be a spouse. So we're going to have arguments in those realms. Okay, so, and then also with the conjunction, which I wanted to talk about this week a little bit because I kind of touched on it last week, but I want to talk a little more, is Mars in Capricorn conjunct Pluto. So it is the symbology of the god of war, Mars, and Pluto, which I haven't touched on Pluto mythology, and quite honestly, I don't know a great deal about Pluto mythology. I only know the pop culture reference to Pluto the dog in Disney. So it'll be interesting. That'll be coming probably in about 2 months because Pluto's at the end of our mythology series. But anything Aries that's getting tweaked and heightened right now, you could be seeing more connection to aggression, assertiveness, masculine, bravado, blood, war, riots, guns, which are under Aries, marketing, self-promotion, emergencies, construction, or the physical building of things, carpentry, hitting hammers to nails, which really gets out a lot of that energy. It drives it in a direction, and it could also help with exercise if you're like feeling pent up, cooped up. Haircuts are going to be something that people are going to be wanting more. I can tell you personally, I want to cut my hair. My daughter likes it growing out, and I'm like, I really want to just cut my hair. Hair is on the head. The head is ruled by Aries. So budding your head, the Aries ram. So you're going to feel some of that. There's going to be the desire to just hammer it home, ram something until it works. And you're going to run into that square between Jupiter and Mercury Sun conjunction. So the other side's going to want to be more touchy-feely and make it work, and everybody should get along and cooperate, or the person in charge of the cooperation is more self-serving, which the Sun and Jupiter can increase. So that's the energy of that. Now, we're going to talk about the Sun, and I can tell you, researching the Sun, there's a lot of mythology, but there isn't a lot of symbology, which means that there are many cultures that recognize the Sun and worshipped it, but, like when we were talking about Ceres and how she's the goddess of agriculture and the connection to wheat and the connection to fertility, there isn't as much of that. It's a lot more about the worshiping side of it. So I've got a few notes written down here. So initially, interestingly, of course, probably many cultures have many different names for different things, but I'm going to give you a few of those. So the Sun was named Sol in Latin, S-O-L. That's the Latin word for the Sun. Rhea, which is R-A, and I've always pronounced it Ra, but it's actually Rhea in Egyptian. Apollo, Titan, or Helios in Greek. There are connections to all of those names in Greece, or the Greek language. Niambi is African. Atun or Horus is also another Egyptian name. Inti is Incan. Surya, Vedic. Sivarag is Slavic for solar deity representing the spirit of fire. Sole, S-A-U-L-E, is Baltic. Grian, Ireland. Suli or Sulis is England. Solus Invictus and Jesus would be the Christian connection to Sun. Now, in Roman times, there was a festival of the birth of the unconquered Sun, or Dies Natalis Solis Invicti. It was celebrated in the winter, or the winter solstice, which is the rebirth of the Sun. Religious commemorations were replaced by Christmas from the Roman Empire. In Africa, the Tiv people considered the Sun to be the Sun, S-O-N, of Awando, and the moon is Awando's daughter. There are no special abilities or functions compared to other deities, unquote. The ancient Egyptian god of creation, and I'm not even sure if I can read my own writing, Amun, A-M-U-N, was believed to live inside the Sun. And then again, there is this connection between what is perceived to be a symbological energy, so the mythology of it, and the actual tangible connection to humans. I found also with the worship and the connection to the Sun. So the fourth dynasty of Egypt worshipped the Sun as a deity, Rhea, symbolized by the, I wrote it down somewhere else. Where the heck did I write it? It was the, I want to say a dog. It's not a dog. Like a jackal? I can't get into symbology. Everybody knows it's actually, if you're listening to the show, it's the photograph. It's the fourth photo associated with my show this week, if you look for it to rotate around as you're listening. And it is the animal with the symbol of the Sun and the horns on the head. There's an ankh in its hand, which it symbolizes life. And there was a religion which was one of a monotheism, one central god, and the religion was named Antonism. Sun worship, now used in association with tanning, was prevalent in the Egyptian culture and in Egyptian religions. The deities all associated with the Sun were goddesses: Wajet, Sekhmet, Hathor, and I apologize if other people know how to pronounce these names because, of course, to the best of my ability, I don't know Egyptian, so I can't tell you. Hathor, Nut, Bast, Bat, and Menhit. Hathor, then known as Isis, or excuse me, I take it back, Hathor and then Isis, the goddess, were believed to give birth to and nurse Horus and Rhea. So Horus, I want to say, I don't know if I have it in here. One was, I believe Horus was the moon and Rhea was the sun. Isis bears a solar disk and horns as symbology of connection to the sun. Fourth Dynasty Egypt portrayed Rhea as, there it is, a falcon-headed god surmounted by a solar disk and surrounded by a serpent, giving warmth to the human body, symbolized by the Ankh, which is a symbol of life in Egypt. By the Fifth Dynasty, Rhea worshipped, peaked, and then gave away somewhat to Osiris, the Lord of the West and Judge of the Dead. The power, so Rhea wasn't as powerful in the Fifth Dynasty in Egypt. And they considered it the new empire, where the sun became symbolized by the dung beetle. And so you see it on a lot of dung beetle mythology. I know, and interestingly, in the TV or the movie Practical Magic, there was a dung beetle, I think it was a dung beetle that was chirping the death of one of the characters' husbands. So it is a very strong symbolism of that time. The sun's movement across the sky represented a struggle between the pharaoh's soul and an avatar of Osiris. The god Amun, associated with Rhea, and rituals were performed on the temple pylons, which mirrored the glyph for the horizon, or Aket, connected with the imagery of death and rebirth. So if you're interested in finding more, there is so much mythology associated with the sun that, I wanted to just touch on certain parts of it, but Wikipedia is Creative Commons license, and you can go research it there. But during a monotheistic time, the god Aten had only one form. So this is when it became from polytheistic to meaning many different gods to just one god the first time, and that happened under the ruler this is gonna be hard. Akhenaten, there we go, who ruled the region of Egypt. And after his death, the religion reverted back to a polytheistic one, and they reestablished some of these multiple gods and goddesses. So the Aztecs, they worshiped the god as the sun god Tonatiuh, so Tonatiuh, which ruled heaven. Each sun had an era and was replaced by the previous sun, who was expelled from heaven, or Tolan. In Aztec culture, the creation myth demanded human sacrifice, or the sun wouldn't move through the sky. There was a solar calendar similar to the Mayan, and monuments to the sun. Arabia worshipped the sun and only abolished sun worship after Muhammad came into being, or rose as the leader. Buddhism, the Chinese representations of the sun, and this is another wonderful $20 word. Okay, Surya Prabha. That's my best guess. That's the sun. And Chandraprabha, which is the moon. The solar deity in the Chinese tradition is Tai Yang Shen, and that actually has an illustration of that particular deity as a man-type god. And then in Chinese mythology, the solar eclipse was the symbol of a magical dog of heaven biting off part of the sun. I thought that was interesting symbology and imagery. In the Irish tradition, the sun is feminine, which is completely removed from just about every other mythology that I ran across, and it's derived in association with the Greek image of Apollo, but it is the goddess Grian, Grian, and some of the epithets or associations are eyes and light. And then finally, I just wanted to touch on this because most of the mythology around the sun is, you can see it goes everywhere from being just worshipped and being out in the open, having temples, to sacrificing people. But the imagery of the sun in astrology is about the ego and about the self and the center of the universe, which in our particular solar system, it is the center. So we have that imagery associated with Leo. So if you wonder why Leos sometimes feel like, or a lot of times feel like they are the center, it is because of the collective consciousness assigning that energy to the sun, and that is the ruler of Leo. So again, astrology is very strongly about the collective symbological assignments and archetypes that we have. And then also it is the sign of the self, the creator or creative energy, which it is also associated with in mythology of being the one that creates and creates growth from plants and all that it touches. And let's see. And then there are many happy depictions of the sun, and it's considered to be too bright that you got to wear shades. But anyway, the sun, obviously, we would not survive without the sun. I think we would all be in very dark depression and wither away without the sun. So while sometimes it seems excessive to think about just how central that is and how intense that energy can be, we are all reliant on it, and it does affect our moods, which is a very strong symbology for astrology. Having the Leo energy, they are a happy sign as a general rule. They light up the room that they walk into, and they create drama, which is translated into shadows in the physical world, light and dark, brightness and shadow. So you have that side of the energy of Leo. So that is the sun. And I'm going to take a break here, and then we'll take some calls. If you would like to get a reading today, please hit the 1 on your keypad. So I know you want a question answered, and we'll come back after the break. In these days of stress, running around, responsibilities, we all need a little place to go to make it all better. Is that place sports, football, or maybe you like to garden, paint, or just listen to music? Wherever your happy place is, you can find a shirt or mug to reflect that happy place. At myhappyplace.rocks, we have a variety of lifestyle products, including iPhone cases, pajamas, and pet items, all with beautiful, colorful designs, which help us go to our happy place. Stop by on the web for great gift ideas for others and yourself. myhappyplace.rocks. Lenny Pickett appears courtesy of Random Act Records. Check them out at randomactrecords.com. Hello, welcome back. You are listening to the AstroEnergy Show on Blog Talk Radio. My name is Shelley Overton, and I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and you can get me at astrologerangel.com. If you would like a longer, more detailed, in-depth reading, I can tell you all about every part of your life, and in your chart we can look at what goes on with changes to yourself, to money, family, siblings, communication, career, jobs, money. Like I said, money, joint finances, marriage, all sorts of things. So anyway, let's take a phone call. So we've got 202. Hi, 202. How are you?
Great. How are you doing?
Good. Who am I talking to?
Caroline.
Could you say that again?
Caroline.
Caroline. Oh, hi, Caroline. What's going on?
Nothing. I got an email and I didn't realize your show was on today. So I was like,
I
was like listening to it. So
yeah, you managed to get on. I'm so excited for you. So, what would you like me to look at today?
I'm not sure. I don't have anything in. I'm just trying to. I've just been working on learning how to be happy. I live alone, so I've been working on learning how to be not relying on.
Mhm.
Yeah, just.
Well, I can look in your chart. You've got a lot of different things triggering your chart. So there's a lot of cooperation and a lot of stuff triggered in your chart. It's amazing. I mean, I'm looking, you have a 25-degree Scorpio rising and Uranus at 2 degrees in Sagittarius. That means Venus is now on your Uranus in your first house. So there is a stronger connection to wanting to connect to people of other cultures. Again, it's that Sagittarian need for travel, and Venus is literally only less than a day into that sign, into your first house. So you're going to be really attracting people thinking that you're very beautiful and wanting to get to know you better, probably, again, people of other cultures. And you've got Mars at 6 degrees Libra. That means Jupiter is right on your Mars. You've got Saturn at 21 Libra, and Mercury is at 19 on your Saturn. You have Pluto at 26 Libra, and the Sun is at 25 Libra. So you've got 3 planets on 3 planets in your chart, which is really amazing. And so that's where a ton of energy is going for you right now, is cooperation with others. And do you express your career? Do you have a life purpose in something you're pursuing?
Yeah, that's what I'm working on, trying to figure that all out.
It's happening. It's happening for you. This is a very strong week for committing. I would say whatever you're looking at, whatever you're experiencing this week is really what is culminating for you in your life. So it can be anything. You know, for you, you've got Mars, Pluto in your second house of money and possessions and value, self-value, self-worth. You have the Sun in Capricorn there, and you have Mercury in Capricorn there. And so Mars and Pluto are right on your sense of self, your connectedness to maybe siblings, if you have siblings, your neighbors. There's a connection to creating a structure around the environment that you live in. And now actually is a fabulous time to garden. Today, let me see. Well, actually, it's good for gardening, but it's not good for planting because the moon is now just past full. So you're going to want to wait until the new moon coming up in just over or just under 2 weeks. You'll feel a good time for that. You said you're on a farm, so do you have some land for gardening?
Yeah, I have a flower bed. I planted some different plants and stuff, but I don't remember the name of them.
Oh, beautiful.
I don't know the names, but yeah. Well, right now I'm just working on I'm working on roofing on a part of the house that was hit bad by Sandy, so I have to.
Oh, okay.
The extensions are not. Probably another flood could come through. It's the house. The farmhouse is on a critical flood zone area, so I've been working. I've took up a bunch of shingles and the extensions to the house. I am taking apart the roof that got destroyed by Sandy, and I'm taking it up and I'm replacing it and putting down like greenhouse roofing material so that the sun can go through, and I can it's going to be like a grow house. So.
Beautiful, and that actually brings up a point that I don't often talk about, that the Capricorn energy is very much about structure, but it's also about connectedness to the earth because of the earth energy, so it's really good for conservation, good for the shift and change around, doing things of the earth in new ways and bringing in that more holistic, especially in going into the last degrees, the last half of Capricorn. Pluto's wanting us to really shift and change and look at the truth around how we interact with the earth and, what we do with it. So that's really fabulous that you're using some green materials. That's also covered under Mars in Capricorn. And since Mars, Pluto are in your second house, it is about making some major shifts to the structure of your house and your homestead. So, and I would say that's probably what you're doing, right? Is a little bit of homesteading because you live on some land. Yeah, so that's wonderful.
Right now I've been struggling. What's that?
I just didn't hear you for a second, but I got it. It's okay.
Oh, okay. Right now I've been struggling because I found an attic with like a hidden attic with letters and things, and
I
found
fun.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found out though, because when I turned the porch light switch on, someone turned it off, and I found out there's a lady. Her name is Doris. She died in the house, and she was only 68 years old. And then I met a lady at McDonald's who's 84 years old, still has her health, doing really, really great. So a part of me feels guilty that I have this beautiful place to myself, and I feel like there was 3 generations. It was built in the 1900s, and there's 3 generations here, and they were all buried at a church less than 2 miles away. So I feel, I don't know how they feel, about me living here, but I just, I think I struggle with that. A lot of people spend their lives on a mortgage or building something, and then they leave it all behind, and I don't know. I guess other relatives didn't have the money to from being foreclosed, but in some ways I'm trying to I guess I feel
respect
like I don't
and honor
know.
it. Yeah.
I don't know if I don't want to be. I don't know that it's a good thing to gain from other people's suffering, So, but I'm trying to work that all out now and try to understand more about how I come into the picture, because it feels like I'm picking up where they all left off, I guess, in their home. Because they made this home. There's a lot of history in it. Even though I live here, in many ways I feel like that kind of lives on. I don't know.
No, that's fabulous. And you know what? I have to tell you, don't ever feel guilty. I mean, you sound like a wonderful person who's very respectful of that place. And, the planets the way they are right now, Pluto and Capricorn, is major shifts and changes for people. And it's around the physical structures. It's around roads. It's around houses and buildings and, cities and things like that. So, even though they had this strong connection to the property, you are like the steward and you are caring for it. So, they are extremely fortunate that you came into the picture and you can do that for that house and carry on this beautiful piece of property and truly appreciate it. So it's just the shift and change that has to happen. Not everything. I mean, think about it. The world changes. It's just, the only constant is change. So, it's unfortunate that family wasn't able to, keep the property in their family if they wanted to, but they had the best possible situation. And I can tell you, nothing happens by accident. You came into that picture for the benefit of the people and the property. So I just want to give you that you don't have to feel guilty about your fortune in this world, because everybody should be fortunate. You're an example to people that it can happen. We are not meant to be demeaned and diminished because of fortune. People who are in the spiritual world and the spiritual modalities who get into more of the spiritual side of life, like energy work and angels or anything that helps people like that, we have this innate sense that, I shouldn't be gaining from this in any way, shape, or form, but you're missing the point that we are all divine. And as long as you don't let the ego get in the way and you're still humble and sincere, you deserve to have a beautiful life. You deserve to have this wonderful property. Express yourself through that, and you're taking care of it. There's no guilt associated with that. You're a wonderful person and serving a great purpose. So please don't ever feel like you shouldn't have the benefit of this wonderful place. You appreciate it. Appreciation is a huge key to benefits and being a good person, So I absolutely admire you for that.
Positive. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But I just think about it before, I didn't know anything. I was whatever. But then I was I'm really curious, because it's kind of living here is kind of stuff I've read in books before. And so I was wondering if they had an attic, and I've read stories in books about people who find an attic and all this stuff in it. And then so I was it's nice to know more about the place where you lived at, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So,
can I ask you?
I found out her birthday is November 4th, so the lady that passed away is a Scorpio.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and so, I have moon in Pisces, so when I'm sleeping, I'll pick up a lot of energy, and I'll pick up stuff, and I'm more sensitive.
You also have Jupiter. Yeah, you have Jupiter and Scorpio in your 12th house, which is the Pisces house, too. So you've got some Scorpio energy in your chart, too. Yeah, but looking at your chart, like Jupiter is going to be coming up a little bit, touching on it at the end of the year. You're going to have Jupiter on your Saturn in December, and then it's going to retrograde. So you'll be going back over some other ideas around getting money from what you truly want to do. But I can tell you this time next year, you're going to be right in the mix of everything you want to do, because Jupiter is going to hit your Saturn-Pluto conjunction, and that's really significant. Pluto-Saturn is, you're able to really connect to people and bring people together. And you're such a tremendous, like, therapist. Have you ever done any kind of social work or therapy?
No,
for other people?
I've been through therapy, and I've had a therapist to help me. So,
I just think that what you're going to be experiencing is there's a strong connection to creating a business around helping other people, and maybe even creating some type of safe place for them to go to using the house. I wouldn't be surprised at all if you end up doing that.
I didn't know if I should make it into a homeless shelter or something to, like, help other people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly, I don't know. That might be too much, but yeah, I feel like
but you're going to get help.
I want to live a life, just because I felt like in my 20s, I lived all of my 20s and mid-30s just selfishly wanting to go after what I've always wanted, and was a happy romantic relationship. And then I learned the hard way that it doesn't look like that's easy. Like, it doesn't seem like that's my path. So
it is your path,
but I need something fulfilling in my life, and I feel like helping other people will help fulfill me, because I don't know. I feel like I'd like to, because I've experienced so much loss. I want to, go to the next life feeling like I didn't live in vain, that I actually did work here to help other people, I guess.
Yeah, such a sweet, altruistic thing. I just want to tell you also, you're coming into a very strong time when Saturn goes into Capricorn, and that's like a year from January, so it'll be January 2018. That'll go into your house of money and possessions, and it's also going to be in the sign of Capricorn and on your natal sun. So that's a huge time, because at the same time, Jupiter is going to be on your natal Saturn, and that's in Libra. It's also in the house of helping others and connecting in a humanitarian way. But it's for the next year, Jupiter is in the sign of Libra, and you have natal Mars, Saturn, and Pluto in Libra, so you're going to get help, okay? Jupiter is going to make sure that you have people in your world, especially by this time next year, between August, September of next year and January of 2018. It is a huge time of shift for you, and you're really coming into what you're going to be doing, and it's going to be with other people. And I wouldn't be surprised if you end up meeting a partner who has a similar passion for what it is you want to do with the house. You're going to have a partner, and there'll be someone, whichever way it is, this partner, business or romantic or both, is going to help you make your dream come true and make your life purpose happen. That's what you're destined to have, okay?
Yeah. That's nice.
It's coming.
Yeah,
it's really strong in your chart for 2018, the end of next year, and in 2018. So it'll really start to kick in when Jupiter goes into Scorpio. But even before then, so even over next summer, I mean, it's going to really, your world is going to be completely different this time next year, okay? It's really going to start to happen.
But living in the same location, you think? Because I feel this desire in me to, like, experience more of the world. That's why I don't see myself as, like, somebody strapped down in a marriage with children. I want to, like the lady that lived here all her life, and I know that because my grandma was an avid gardener, and I know that she had a green. The neighbors told me she had a green thumb, but like, I feel like in order for me to be happy, I have to like travel so much, and I don't know.
Well,
hard.
okay,
Right
so
now I can't do that, but
right. Let me address this for you. Okay, so you have Neptune, literally the same degree as the cusp of your house, a home, and family. So Neptune just went in. Neptune will be there for 14 more years. Okay, on into the next decade. So you're going to experience an expression of your ideal home life situation, and it's building. Right now, Neptune's retrograde. Neptune is also going to be squaring Venus. Venus just got into Sagittarius. Your Neptune, the transiting Neptune squares Uranus. But that being said, that just means that there may be some difficulty around how you express that desire to travel, but you will travel. I mean, Venus wants you to travel. You will travel, and it's in your first house. You have a natal Neptune at 25 Sagittarius. So there is probably going to be, over like 10 years from now, an increase in wanting to be in the home, wanting to be connected in a very deep spiritual way. I think that there is a story to be told. Your chart also triggers the ability to write the story of maybe the history of the house. You've Libra, all the Libra energy in your money from career. Libra is about writing. So if you think about writing, that's strong in your chart. Yeah, and then you have Uranus in Sagittarius and Neptune in Sagittarius with Saturn saying, listen, pay attention to this. You do want to travel. You do want to get out there. So take time and do it. Find a way to do it. But it doesn't mean you can't also have the home, which is actually going to be your dream. And it's going to develop. I want you to have faith in the dream developing, because you have Jupiter in your 12th in trine, in positive aspect to Neptune in your house of home and family. This is part of the dream. It's actually the physical structure that has been brought into your world to help you manifest more things than you're even doing right now. It's coming, okay?
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for talking. Okay, yeah. Oh no, you know what? I know that there are a lot of negative things that happen with the planets going through certain parts of the sky, but I really try and encourage people from from a positive standpoint, and give them a different point of view, so that you don't have to look at the world as like a victim or guilty, or you can look at it like things are meant to happen a certain way. You're riding the crest of what is meant to be. Don't feel bad about having fortune in your life. And then when you start recognizing that you're really a fortunate person, you can get more fortune. And it's okay to be fortunate. It's okay to receive. That's what Jupiter wants us to do. Jupiter is saying, hey, you can receive. You can receive in relationships. Jupiter's now in Libra. You're going to go through a change and a shift around how to be in a relationship and not get your feelings hurt, and really truly take care of yourself in that relationship. Okay?
Yeah, I guess you tell yourself you're okay to receive, because it's when you go to the next life, you don't take it with you, so you're going to give it back away. It's like the world is like a recycling type of thing. I just felt bad because I felt like she died too young. Like 68 is too young, and she probably didn't have anyone to help her. But I can tell you two things. Even though 68 is young, people pass all the time when they fulfilled their mission on Earth. Even though from the outside, from our perspective on Earth, it seems like they had so much more to live. And I say that all the time. When I see young people pass away, I'm like, oh, there's so much more. But every individual has opportunities to transition and windows in their timeline of their life. And we don't know the bigger story and the bigger picture. So from our perspective, we say, oh, that was too soon. That shouldn't have happened. But from their perspective, they're on the other side experiencing what the mission in this world was, and they know what it was. I truly believe once we pass over, we gain an understanding of why we were here, why we experienced life the way we did, how it truly was, not just our 180-degree perspective of it, because if you think about it, we only see 180 degrees of what life is, and then there's another whole 180 degrees behind us. There's even more above and below. Like, we don't have the total picture
living our lives. We think we do, and we make decisions based on what we know, but we don't know everything. When we pass, we have the complete picture. So that person who passed away now knows what it was like and why she was in that world and why her life was the way it was. And I'm sure that she feels honored that you are in her home. I don't think that there's resentment from her, and if you ever felt that she's around being resentful, just reassure her that you appreciate her home and you're going to take good care of it. And she will be fine with that. I can guarantee she will be like, wow, that's really great, because the other side does not have the darkness of ego. The higher vibration we have, which we get when we cross, the people who are not earthbound, in other words, the ones who cross, who do not connect so strongly to the ego that they remain, they are in a more expanded view of reality, and it is very positive. It is going to the light. They appreciate the total picture that we don't get here on Earth. So I don't ever want you to feel guilty for what someone else experienced, because and your Capricorn wants to be responsible for the world. You don't have to be responsible for the world. Just be responsible for you, and the world will start to take care of each individual on its own. Like, everyone will ultimately start taking care of their own stuff. I believe that. I think we are going into a shift where it is no longer we're giving away our power for someone else to take care of. We are starting to take it on ourselves. And that's what Uranus and Pluto into Aquarius is going to do for us, that we are becoming very autonomous. So I just want to relieve you from some of that guilt.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Take care. Have a lovely week.
Okay. You too. Bye.
Okay. Thanks. Bye, Caroline.
Bye.
Okay, let's take one more call before we're wrapping up. Hi, 651. How are you?
I'm good. This is Linda.
I know. I just didn't get to your chart quick enough. I'm like, I know who this is.
I know who this is.
How are you doing, Linda?
I'm sort of feeling like a spaceship that's hovering and standing still and waiting to know which direction to go next.
Okay.
And
so
a couple of things have brought some curiosity up for me, like where was Uranus in my birth chart, and when does Jupiter come to my sun? And
okay,
when's the money coming in?
Okay, so Uranus is in your house of work and health. It's in the sign of Cancer at 22 degrees. You have an Aquarius rising, so Uranus in Cancer rules your rising sign as well, so there's a strong mother connection to that and a helper connection because of the sixth house connection. You can be a teacher, librarian kind of energy as well. Mm-hmm. Jupiter comes to your sun. Where the heck is Jupiter? In very soon. It's at 8 degrees. Your natal sun is at 9. So let me look real quick if I can find my ephemeris. There it is. Okay. So it needs to be 9 degrees and 22 minutes, and that is a week from today. Well, actually, a little bit sooner, between Sunday and Monday of next week, the 22nd and 23rd of October.
And the implications of that are?
Well, you're going to be feeling it now anyway. The implications are that there is a shift around marriage and partnership. You're definitely feeling a stronger inclination to stand up for what you need in a relationship. And as Jupiter transits out of that house, it can shift your marriage or partnership situation to a more idealized situation. So there is a strong transition shift coming up, and that's within you. It's also around an idealized situation. As soon as Jupiter gets to 19 and moves into your ninth house, and the British lady is telling me I have a minute left, and she's yelling in my ear. I'm like, you're just really loud today. But let me see. Jupiter doesn't hit that degree until next year. So from now until the end of the year, you're going to be experiencing kind of a culmination of some energy around I need to get my needs met, energy around money, finances, joint finances. Are you married?
No, I'm single.
Okay. There's a strong energy right now around needing to have a partner in your life and wanting that partner, but also needing to have your own needs met. And it's around, right now it's in the commitment thing. So, but Jupiter in the 8th house is really bringing up some deep psychological issues and how you see yourself in relationships. So by next year, early next year, you're going to, and the sun is there today. The sun is right between your Neptune and your Mercury. So you're feeling this push towards creating an ideal romantic situation. But I'm guessing next year you're going to go on a trip and or express yourself again, all the Sagittarian energy through religion, through travel, adventure, education. Any of those realms will bring you closer to the person that you're going to meet. Okay?
Okay.
So it's next year for you if you're looking for a romance. It's really strong as Jupiter goes on top of your Neptune, Mercury, Saturn at the end degrees. So, yeah, throughout the course of next year, you're going to have that whole part of your chart triggered, and I think you're going to have a lot of opportunities for travel or a desire to learn more, put yourself in a position of learning, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, good luck. And also, this also relates to potential for real estate. I always forget the real estate connection, but there is a real estate connection to Sagittarius and that house, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
So think about that. All right, take care. Have
a good week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay, that's the end of the show. Thank you so much for joining me. See you next week for, I think it's going to be Mercury. Bye. Oh, the moon.
Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be hard. Like early 90s heavy metal hard.
I'm yelling and screaming, and I'm loud. Roar!
Geico makes it easy. You can review and update your policy or report a claim on Geico.com or the Geico mobile app. Because shouldn't we all have a little less stress in our lives?
I'm not even upset about anything!
At Wendy's,
This just in, Wendy's new Swiss Junior Bacon